Hey, Jason here from Simply Swider. So, if your Thermador oven isn't heating up, don't worry. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it. These are premium ovens, and most of the time, it's something pretty straightforward that you can handle yourself in about 20 to 45 minutes with basic tools like a screwdriver and multimeter. Before we get started, if you run into any questions, jump into our Facebook group. Links in the description. We've got thousands of people helping each other fix their appliances, and I pop in there daily to help out. So the igniter is hands down the most common problem I see with gas Thermador ovens. Here's what happens. You'll hear the gas trying to light, maybe even smell a little gas but no flame. The igniter might glow orange, but it's just not hot enough to open that safety valve and get things cooking. You can test this pretty easily. Just turn your oven on and watch that igniter. If it's taking more than 90 seconds to light up, or if it's glowing but never actually ignites the gas, that igniter is done. I had this customer last month who was ready to replace her whole oven because it wouldn't heat. Turned out to be a $15 igniter that took maybe 20 minutes to swap out. To fix it safely, first turn off the circuit breaker and shut off the gas supply valve. Never skip this step. Pull out the oven racks and remove the bottom panel by lifting it straight up. Then carefully unscrew the old igniter from the burner tube and disconnect the wire harness before installing your new igniter. With electric Thermador ovens, the heating elements burn out, especially after those high heat self-clean cycles. You'll know this is your problem when you've got uneven baking, food that's raw on the bottom, or you can actually see breaks and blisters in the element when it's trying to heat up. Sometimes you'll see dark spots or holes right in the coil. Here's a quick test. Set your multimeter to the ohms setting and touch the probes to each terminal of the element. A working element should show a reading between 10 and 75 ohms. If you see all or infinite resistance, that element is bad and needs replacement. The fix is pretty straightforward. Shut off your circuit breaker, unscrew the element from the back wall or floor, pull it forward gently, and swap those wire terminals onto the new element. Just make sure to clip those wires so they don't slip back behind the liner. Learned that one the hard way. Control board problems are tricky because the oven might seem fine, displays working, buttons respond, but you're getting no heat at all. You might see error codes like F1 or F2 or hear clicking sounds when you start a cycle, but no actual heating. To test this, try running a bake cycle and listen carefully near the control panel for relay clicking sounds. What's usually happening is those relays on the board are sticking or you've got cold solder joints that are failing under high current. I remember this guy who called me about his Thermador. Everything looked normal, but listen closely and you could hear the relays clicking without any heat actually happening. The challenge here is that Thermador control boards are often discontinued, so you're looking at sending the board out to a specialty repair shop for rebuilding. If you're handy with electronics, you can sometimes reflow the solder on those high current relay pins yourself, but be careful. You've got to remove that glass front panel, and replacement glass is usually impossible to find. The thermal fuse is basically a safety device that cuts power to your heating elements if things get too hot. Your oven display might be working fine, but those elements never get warm. This happens a lot after self-cleaning cycles or power surges. Testing it is simple. Grab your multimeter and check for continuity. No continuity means it's blown and needs replacing. Now here's the thing. Accessing this fuse usually means pulling your oven out to get to the back or top plenum area. Once you find it, swap it with the exact same OEM fuse. These aren't resettable, so don't try to bypass it. Some Thermador models use a high limit switch instead, which works similarly but can sometimes be reset. Temperature sensor problems are sneaky. Your oven might seem to be heating, but it's not reaching the right temperature, or it's way off from what you set. Sometimes you'll get an F3 error code. The sensor provides resistance feedback to the control board, and when it goes bad, the board thinks the oven's at temperature when it's really not. At room temperature, about 70 degrees, that sensor should read somewhere around 1080 to 1100 ohms on your multimeter. If it's way off from that range, there's your problem. The good news is this is probably the easiest fix. Just unscrew the sensor from inside the cavity on the back wall, pull the wires through, disconnect that plastic harness, and install the new probe. Gas igniters typically run anywhere from 15 to 200 bucks depending on your exact model. The good news is that generic flat igniters work for most Thermador models, so you don't always need the expensive OEM part. This is definitely a DIY repair if you're comfortable working around gas. Just make sure you shut off that gas supply. You can find these at appliance parts stores or online retailers. The repair difficulty is pretty moderate. I'd say about a 4 out of 5, but totally doable if you take your time. Bake and broil elements run about $78 to $150 for Thermador ovens. These are usually pretty easy to find at appliance parts dealers. Now, if your element is hidden under the oven floor, accessing it gets trickier. You might need to remove the rear panel, but for standard visible elements, this is an easy repair, maybe a 3 out of 5 difficulty. Just remember that circuit breaker needs to be off before you start poking around in there. Thermal fuses are cheap, 10 to 60 bucks depending on your model. Some Thermador units use a resettable high limit switch instead, which costs about the same. The tricky part isn't the cost, it's the access. You usually got to pull the oven out to reach the back or top plenum area. Once you find it though, it's a simple swap. These aren't repairable. When they blow, they're done. You can find them at appliance parts stores or order online. Temperature sensors run about 30 to 100 bucks, and this is hands down the easiest repair on the list. I'd give it a 5 out of 5 for simplicity. Just unscrew it from the back wall of the cavity and swap in the new one. You can find these at most appliance parts retailers. The hardest part is making sure you get the right probe length for your specific model. All right, let's talk parts and whether these repairs are worth doing yourself. Thermador ovens are built to last 15 years or more, so here's my rule of thumb. If your unit's under 10 years old, these repairs are absolutely worth it. You'll spend between $15 and $300 on parts versus $8,000 to $12,000 for a new comparable Thermador oven. Now you can see right there on your screen the most common Thermador models that run into these heating issues. Take a look. You might even spot your own oven up there. Don't worry about memorizing all those model numbers, but it's good to know if your unit's among the ones that commonly have these problems. That's how you tackle Thermador oven heating problems. Here's your quick diagnostic checklist. First, try a 5-minute circuit breaker reset. For gas models, watch the igniter. It should light within 90 seconds. For electric models, look for visible damage on heating elements. Check for error codes like F1, F2, or F3 on your display. And remember, most of these repairs cost under $200 but can save you thousands. Most of these repairs are definitely worth doing yourself, especially if your oven's under 10 years old. If this helped you get your Thermador heating again, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know which fix worked for you. Really helps other people with the same problem. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll get this out to more folks who need to save some time and money. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.